This is our striking buddy. We're going to be going over the basics of formulation. What is a formula? A formula is essence and a component with an essence movement into a target. That's it. Done quite a bit of active state stuff today. We have some level of exposure, definitely driving us right now. We have some level of residual, very minimal, negligible. It's mostly dissipated so far. We have some level of intolerance built in our system from the previous exemplifications today. So we're just going to keep this very simple, right? We're going to strike this with a 2-point to start off with. But before we do that, we're going to define a 1-point, which is a fractional, as we know. You build up essence, let's just say to a 2-3, and you expel it with an essence movement. That's it. Very not potent. Honestly, it's more of a motion to help you practice the serious things. You're not going to need to become a black belt in karate to understand how to strike something. What you want to do is build up that essence. That's always going to be your base core, at least to a 2-3, 3-1 preferably. You don't want to be at a point where you spark at that level. You want to get that out of the way. You want to go figure out how to avoid sparking at lower levels by training that on another note. You're not gonna get anywhere. You want to hold your ground, hold the build. You want to have that capacity formed before you come out here messing with things like this. And then with that energy inside you, send it through your arm. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be sparking in the process. It's going to reset your build. As I said, you're going to have that sparking in your lower area because that natural compression is going to be taking place. Okay? But you want it to stance you. You want to base yourself. You're going to saturate that arm in that formula, that essence. You're going to move it there before you activate. That activation is going to be the essence movement itself. A 2-point formulation is going to be very simple. It's going to be an essence build, rather pure. If it's raw, it's sparse and all over the place, so we're not talking about raw essence. That's raw essence is just spoken about in the very beginning of your essence refinement. Pure essence is mostly in the higher echelon of essence generation. 3-1, holding that build, holding it. And it's going to change your demeanor. You're going to be willed to act. You're going to be motivated. Your state of being, your physicality is going to be primed. It's going to make you a little bit unstable though, so be sure to be extra focused. Depending on what will happen, you'll strike square and center. There's no reason to be out here pursuing greatness with a formulation on a skill that you haven't become adept at already. There's absolutely no reason to do that. You should already be decent at striking and kicking before coming out here and trying to do this. So anyway, 2-1, essence up, and we're going to pair it with tension, right? The essence movement doesn't count. So we can artificially recreate tension by concave chest or spurring, or there's a lot of different techniques. We're not getting into that right now. Let's just say we have it, we've artificially recreated it, and you're gonna build it, you're gonna stock it in that right arm, you're gonna hold it, and you're gonna send it. And the essence movement itself is the jerking action. The impact, you can see it, right? In different situationals, some people don't want the jerk to be the essence movement because that can be rather unstable, it can get in the way, it can be distracting. A simple, that works, you know? Or, and I mean, it doesn't have to be one thing or the other. It can be many different things. So now we're gonna work with a 3-point. As the components increase, so too does the instability. Why? Because you're distracted with other components. You have more to process and format and place, and you know, it's just a bunch of file folders to that, right? So we're gonna pair that. We're gonna build it again into the core. We're gonna build up that 3-1. Hold it, right? We're holding it. Get into stance while we're holding it. Hold it. Understand the 3 components. It takes a little bit more time. And then strike. That was a very light form of primal. 4 points. Not a wise decision to utilize in the face of adversity, because there's so much going on at one point in time, so much to focus on, so much to dwell on, so much to refine, and just it's so much to deal with at the same time that you tend to buckle, which, you know, you reach that peak of everything's built up, and then all of a sudden you have that shock, right? You have that spark or two or three, and you're down here, and then, you know, maybe you already are going towards the target, no more time to build up, and then it's no good to go for a 4-point when you could utilize something far lesser and more effective. You're not always going into things with 100% base state effort. Sometimes you're going into something with 40% base state effort, and then you have, like, in regards to your overall capability in active state, you have like 30, 40, 50% active state input. So the equivalent happening would be something along the lines of like 75 or 80% base state. So you don't have to apply yourself fully to something. That's the purpose mostly. In a lot of circumstances is to amend your base state with active state energy and not have to exert yourself as much, because you have that bracing, you have that stealing, you have that amplified state of being through active state energies. So yeah, you know, you're gonna have a lot of instances where you could just utilize red absolute essence or some derivative thereof essence and get away with a lot more than you can dealing with a 4-point or something crazy like that. You know, I mean, 1-point, 2-point, 3-point formulations, they are a lot more stable than 4 and above. I mean, yeah, it can go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's no real purpose of doing that, though. I mean, to have that capability, okay, sure, but to seek the utilization of that, I mean, I can't. I'd have to really think hard why someone would want to do that. So anyway, right now we're gonna do a 4-point because I guess, you know, for example's sake. So everything's built up in an equal sense. Not quite. We did break it though. We did break it, but we didn't break it the way that I wanted to. If I would have taken some more time to build up, things probably would have been better off. It's that bass, that calm bass. All right, there we go. And I'm going to start to generate, sending it down into my lower core and then back up into my upper core and then towards my arm. Sending it down to compress it, get it pure, like that's going to happen naturally. For anything above a 2-2, 2-3, 3-1, it's going to happen naturally. I'm going to do it intentionally to make it more effective. Bring it back up into my body and then into my arm. And I'm going to break this brick, hopefully. And so right now I'm feeling, this is a great example. Right now I'm feeling too many instabilities, so I'm going to actually sit down and relax. It's important to note that if you're not feeling 100% before going into something, any field training, you should back off. There's no reason to rush anything. You need to inflect inside of yourself and understand, am I at the point that I need to be at? Am I focused? Do I have my full breath? Is my body suffering from anything? You know, one of the most debilitating things that we can experience is sickness, nausea, I mean, you know, broken limbs, things like that. You don't want to, you know, go out and train when you're sick, right? So I'm relaxing in the hopes right now that I can reduce whatever instabilities I'm feeling. A lot of residual that was messing with my stability. Just felt rushed, too much exposure in a short time to compromise the next action. That's different for everybody. Every day is different. All right, I think that's good. It's not that short of a time frame to get calm for everybody. It's just different. Everything's different. All right. No damage. We're good.